morning, guys, and welcome to the Monday Movie Memo, where we like to talk about things that happened over the weekend and catch you up on what's coming up this week. And we cannot go any further without discussing The Expendables Part 3 and the fact that it kind of bombed at the box office over the weekend. I don't know if this is the final nail in the coffin of the Expendables franchise, but I think Stallone really needs to make some big changes to his newish signature franchise if he's going to continue. And in fact, we have a piece on the site right now, which you need to go over and click, where we come up with 5 ways that we think that Stallone can rejuvenate this franchise, because the concept's not broken necessarily. It's just what they're doing with it isn't working. And I think that one of our writers, Gabe, came up with 5 excellent ways that Stallone can really fix the Expendables franchise and get it back on track, because right now, the way that it exists, it's kind of a bloated nightmare that audiences are saying through their lack of showing up at the box office that they're just not interested in this. I mean, this one had all of the heavy hitters when you mention Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Mel Gibson, Harrison Ford, and that's where I want to continue the conversation today. Harrison Ford is a newcomer to the Expendables franchise. Harrison Ford has not been showing up in a lot of films recently. His filmography, I'm going to pull up here, is, a cameo in Anchorman, a significant part in Ender's Game. He played Branch Rickey in 42. Here in the Expendables franchise, he takes over for Bruce Willis, who infamously wanted too much money for a very small amount of screen time. And Stallone said, look, we're not really doing these films for the payday. We're kind of doing it for the fun of getting all these familiar faces together on screen. And Willis, to his credit, participated in the first 2 and wanted to be paid handsomely for showing up in Part 3. So instead, it's Harrison Ford playing the nondescript federal agent, Drummer, who has to pass along the covert assignment to Stallone and his crew, telling him where he can find Mel Gibson's character and why he needs to bring him in alive so that The Hague can put Gibson's character on trial. And I want to talk about how Harrison Ford plays the material, because he severely underplays it and sort of approaches it, and these are spoilers, but not really. Sort of plays it in a way where you could tell that Ford's not really that invested in it. He could have a lot of fun with this character, and he could sort of chew scenery, or he gets a good scene where he has to play off. He gets 2 scenes where he has to play off of Stallone, and this is a chance for them to really put their action filmography out there on a big platter and just say, look, we're icons. Let's play this as icons. And Ford doesn't. And he chooses to sort of underplay it, and he chooses to sort of speak in a gravelly tone and to whisper most of his lines. And, that's kind of what Harrison Ford does now. Which brings me to a major film that everyone's going to be paying a lot of attention to next December, and that's Star Wars Episode 7. Now, people didn't turn out for the Expendables. People are going to turn out for Star Wars Episode 7. You don't need the stunt gimmick of every action hero that you know and love to get people to turn out for the next Star Wars. And everything that we've been hearing about the fact is that J.J. Abrams has reconfigured this new Star Wars adventure to focus primarily on the 3 leads from the first trilogy, and that's Mark Hamill, it's Carrie Fisher, and it's Harrison Ford. And we're even hearing that Harrison Ford is going to be the centerpiece of this story, where Han Solo might be going off on some kind of an adventure to reclaim, rescue, retrieve Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker. That might be true, it might be completely misdirection, but we do believe that Harrison Ford is going to be a major part of this film. If it's the Harrison Ford that we're seeing on screen in Expendables 3, an actor who really isn't that invested in the material, and not that he's trying to claim a paycheck, but this isn't a passion project for him, this could be a problem for Episode 7. And especially because Harrison Ford has never hidden the fact that he has some kind of like an open disdain for Star Wars, and the fact that he keeps getting asked about it, and it was a major part of his past. But he's a versatile actor who's had a lot of franchises underneath his belt and a lot of standalone winning pedigreed films. I hope that this isn't an indication of what we're going to see out of Harrison Ford in Star Wars Episode 7. And I'm worried because we've seen it kind of in films like Cowboys and Aliens and Paranoia, and not quite Ender's Game. I thought he gave more of a performance in Ender's Game, but he's coasting through a few of these films. Extraordinary Measures, if you can even remember that one. And definitely Expendables 3. So I learned from Expendables 3 over the weekend that Harrison Ford will still work, and you can get him on screen, but you might not be getting 100% of the Harrison Ford that we know and love, and who helped turn Han Solo into an iconic, beloved character. So what does that tell us about what we're going to see in Episode 7? I kind of want to turn that over to you guys. Did you see him in Expendables 3? Were you entertained by his performance, or did you think that he was sort of giving it 50% of what Harrison Ford can give? And is 50% now 100% of what Ford is normally able to offer? Because if that's what we're going to see in Star Wars Episode 7, then I hope J.J. Abrams has a lot more tricks up his sleeve to keep us invested in this galaxy far, far away. So weigh in the comment section below. Continue to read our Expendables coverage. Continue to read all of our Star Wars coverage. And let's hope that we get Harrison Ford that we know and love from the Indiana Jones franchise and from the original Star Wars trilogy. Because if it's the same Harrison who sort of meandered through Expendables 3, Episode 7 is going to have a long way to go to win us over.